My name's Tom Flavin. I'm CEO of the Burbank Chamber of Commerce, and it's my pleasure and honor to introduce to you our chair for the Chamber of Commerce this year, Gemma Sanchez. She's going to take you through the welcome. Gemma?
Thank you, Tom. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2018 Burbank Chamber of Commerce State of the City Address and Luncheon. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to Los Angeles Marriott Burbank Airport. I'm Gemma Sanchez with Chulada Incorporated, and I am the 2018 Chair of the Burbank Chamber of Commerce. At the top of the program, I'd like to acknowledge the following dignitaries and elected officials in attendance today. As I call your name, please stand and be recognized. I ask that you hold your applause until all names have been called. Pamela Marcello, District Representative for Congressman Adam Schiff, 28th District. Senator Anthony Portantino, representing California's 25th State Senate District. Sarah Jeannie Law, District Director, Office of Assembly Member Laura Friedman, District 43, California State Legislature. Jared DeGonia, Senior Field Deputy for Los Angeles County, 5th District, Supervisor Catherine Barger. Members of our Burbank City Council, Mayor Emily Gabel-Luddy, Vice Mayor Sharon Springer, Councilman Bob Frutos, Councilman Jess Talamantes, and Councilman Tim Murphy. Ron Davis, Burbank City Manager. Debbie Cutta, Burbank City Treasurer. Zazette Mullins, Burbank City Clerk. From the Burbank Unified School District, Vice President Armand Agacanyan. School Board Member Charlene Tabé. Clerk Steve Fritner, and Superintendent Matt Hill. The following commissioners from the Hollywood Burbank Airport, Mr. Don Brown, Mr. Terry Tornick, and Mr. Bill Wiggins. This year we have 21 sponsors. Let's put our hands together in thanking them for their continued support. On behalf of the Burbank Chamber of Commerce, I welcome you to the city of Burbank, the media capital of the world. Many media and entertainment companies are headquartered or have significant production facilities in Burbank, including the Walt Disney Company, Warner Brothers Entertainment, Nickelodeon Animation Studios, the Burbank Studios, and Cartoon Network Studios. The city is also home to one of our economic engines, the Hollywood Burbank Airport, a leading healthcare company, Providence St Josephs Medical Center, an esteemed university, Woodbury University, a top-notch school district, Burbank Unified School District, and many small businesses and enterprises that form the fabric of our fair city. This year, the Burbank Chamber of Commerce is celebrating 98 years since it was founded in 1920. It represents nearly 1,000 member businesses with more than 33,000 employees. We welcome new and returning businesses into the Chamber family. Our mission is to be the leading public policy advocate for business, to promote economic growth, to be a strategic partner in initiatives that enhance and preserve the quality of life in the Burbank community, and to provide valued services to our members. I'd like to take the opportunity to update you on the progress and execution toward our 2018 strategic objectives and initiatives identified in 2016 and 2017. Here's a review of our accomplishments. We created a financially sustainable business model with a budget surplus. We launched a new website and have a stronger social media presence the Chamber is now more visible in our community. We've created a new group of young professionals to represent the young voice of our community. We have modernized our infrastructure, both physically and technologically. The traffic management organization has relocated to shared space in the Chamber offices. We continue to strengthen membership advocacy and government relations. We are finalizing the creation of a new 501c3 Chamber affiliate, which will open new revenue resources to the Chamber by obtaining local, private, and grant funds to carry out a stronger economic development program. To that effect, Tom Flavin will make an announcement at the end of today's program. Finally, a heartfelt thank you to our CEO, Tom Flavin, our very engaged board of directors, staff, ambassadors, and the Building Fund financial, marketing, membership, and public affairs committees. Your hard work is not lost on me. Your hard work fosters a thriving business community and helps build a better Burbank. So let's get started with the invocation today, provided by Rabbi Mark Sobel of Temple Beth Emet, followed by the flag salute led by Marisol Espinoza, board member of the Burbank Chamber of Commerce, followed by Chamber member Gino Gaudio with the national anthem. Please remain standing for all three, and here is Rabbi Sobel.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, the Mayor of Pasadena, police chiefs, and leaders of Burbank, and honored guests. I am so honored to be able to lead you in prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing upon those assembled here and their families, without whose support these leaders would not, for sure, not have become the leaders they are. Master of the universe, as you well know, this past week, Jewish communities throughout the world have celebrated the ancient holiday of Sukkot, called in English tabernacles, where temporary huts were built adjacent to homes and synagogues, while the symbol of these huts relates to the Hebrews' quest for freedom traveling in the Sinai desert, and later to the fall harvest. Their symbolism is powerful for us here in Burbank as well. The first and primary activity in building the sukkah, we are to eat and sleep in it, but first, we build it. Why, after a 26-hour fast of repentance, do we start with physical labor? Is to remind us that the world you have created for us is not only for prayer, but of action. The cliche, actions speak louder than words, while not biblical in form, is biblical in vision. We are not only to have a vision of the future and to dream dreams, but to physically make those dreams happen. El Shaddai, God of power, please share with those assembled your vision of the Burbank for the Burbank of the future, when based upon your statement of love in Leviticus, you will love your neighbor as you love yourself. And give those gathered together here divine inspiration to join their actions also with the inspiring words of your prophet Micah. Do justice, love loving mercy, and walk humbly with your God. We know, Master Creator, you've created a unique place in Burbank, from its great centers of cinematic imagery to its mom-and-pop grocery stores and every place in between. Burbank is one of a kind. Please, one who created all, from the aardvark to the zebra, from the ostrich to the hummingbird, from the whale to the guppy, teach us to appreciate the uniqueness of all your creations, animal, vegetable, mineral, and human. To love all not in spite of their differences, but because of their variety. May Burbank always hoist proudly the banner of unity from diversity, because we fully understand from oneness, God, your oneness, God, comes not from singularity, but from completeness, as you yourself create unity from divergent elements, bonding them together into one. All we need to think of is water. May we use divine intuition to see and then help all those in need and provide for them both a physical and a spiritual place to call home. Av Harachamam, Father of motherly love, enlighten our leaders, from those who deal in earthly cinematic visions to those who envision flights to other planets and all those in between, to treat the newcomers and the old-timers, those who come on the freeways and those who live here, with the same caring and nourishment that a mother gives to the fetus growing inside her womb, enabling them all to grow into loving, caring creations they can be. Heavenly Spirit, may your spiritual food will help our companions to grow into the partners we long for. For when we work together, we make Burbank into a Sukkot Shalom, a tabernacle of peace, a heritage of completeness for all. As your prayer says, give us a place to rest, Lord God, in peace. And raise us up again, our King, to life anew. Spread over us your tabernacle of peace, and guide us with your good counsel. While I have your attention, dear God, I have one last request. Heavenly Shekhinah, the source of godly healing, heal the rifts that divide our country. May we remember men and women are both created in your image. May all men and all women see you in each other. And may your divine spark help to warm us all. And let us all say, Amen. And if I can step out, I can't without the microphone, darn. I would like to bless you all personally. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May God grant each and every one of you the power to pursue shalom, which means so much more than peace, means completeness and fulfillment. And may you receive a double blessing as you bring yourself toward completeness and you bring others toward completeness. And now, once again, may we all say, Amen.
Please join me as we salute our nation's flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
As the chair of the Burbank Chamber of Commerce, I am honored to serve our community in this capacity. And one of my goals this year has been to create a succession plan. To me, succession planning is vitally important for ensuring the continued success of the Burbank Chamber of Commerce. It's been an honor and a privilege to be the Burbank Chamber Chair this year, and I have had the pleasure of working together with my Vice Chair, Darrin Chase. Please join me in welcoming Darrin Chase at this time.
Thank you, Hema. She does great introductions. Burbank has a rich history rooted in the ground. From farming to winemaking, Burbank evolved to manufacturing trucks, tractors, and eventually caught the interest of a small company called Lockheed. The entertainment industry was here as well, and Burbank's continued growth into a major entertainment region. Through it all, Burbank has retained its small feel and still has a thriving farmers market. Now we look to the future with major airport changes and redevelopments in that area. Burbank has a solid foundation, and with continued leadership, Burbank Story will continue to move forward. So it is my pleasure, on behalf of the Burbank Chamber of Commerce, to introduce Mayor Gabel-Luddy.
Good afternoon. Oh, cool. I'm Mayor Emily Gabel-Luddy, and on behalf of the entire City Council and staff, I want to welcome you to this year's State of the City Address. Burbank is a diverse community with people of all ages and a wide variety of cultures and ethnicities. We're a wonderful melting pot of people, ideas, history, and futures. So, what do we have in common? It's our city of Burbank, our city, and our stories. Our interconnected life stories are really what makes Burbank wonderful.
Once upon a time,
there was a city called Burbank,
where I was born,
Where I was raised,
where I moved to,
where we joined the service,
where we started our business,
where we keep the streets safe,
where we play,
where we live,
where I learn about the world,
where we fell in love,
where I play the devil on TV,
where I go hiking,
where I became mayor. We all have our stories to tell, and Burbank is full of storytellers, each and every one of us. It's where we create our stories through film, television, animation, music, our businesses, and our families. Burbank is the home of our stories and our lives. Dr. David Burbank began our city's story, and it's up to us to write the next chapter, to keep the words flowing for our future and for the future of our children. One institution committed to the well-being of Burbank's future is Providence St Josephs Medical Center, founded by the Sisters of Providence in 1943.
The Sisters of Providence came here almost 75 years ago to respond to the needs of the time. And over the past 7 decades, we have grown to do the same. And we'll continue to be here and provide compassionate care for generations to come.
We really focus on whole person care, caring for the mind, body, and spirit. And it is our intent to fulfill our promise to our patients to know me, care for me, and ease my way. And that's just one example of how we do that.
St. Joe's is the second largest hospital serving the San Fernando and Santa Clarita Valleys, and is home to the state-of-the-art Roy and Patricia Disney Family Cancer Center.
About 10 years ago, we envisioned creating a comprehensive cancer center, one of the only ones, or the only one in the Valley. And so coming together with the city, with the community, with other like-minded individuals to truly put something special together where we're caring for the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, is really what we envision for the Disney Family Cancer Center. We provide extraordinary care with the latest technology. It's in such a way with compassion and dignity in providing for those needs of our patients.
In addition to the Disney Cancer Center, St. Joe's is known for its excellent work in neurosciences and stroke care, and also has a leading-edge maternity ward where many Burbankers began their life stories.
We deliver nearly 2,400 babies a year at this hospital. I am always touched by the stories of our families who have had their babies here, or even when we meet somebody who has had their grandchildren here and their children here. It really is something very special.
Some Burbank Stories started a world away and had to overcome great hardships, such as the wildly popular Portos Bakery.
So my name is Beatrice Porto. They call me Betty, and I'm one of the Portos family, obviously. And my parents are the ones that are responsible for what you see nowadays. It was their dream, their passion, and their hard work. They came from Cuba to the United States looking for freedom. It took us 8 years to get out of Cuba. My mom was without a job. My dad was making $180. They took him to a concentration camp where he was kept away from us, and her struggle began in order for us to survive. So she started making cakes at home illegally because the government didn't care whether we ate or not. We were the enemy of the state. If we died, they didn't care. Our house got raided many times, but we had neighbors that were great neighbors, and they told us that the secret police was coming, and we'd hide everything next door. She was never caught, but it would have been 25 years in jail.
The family's tenaciousness in Cuba allowed them to survive, but in America, it's what propelled them to thrive.
Customer can taste the quality on everything that we do. And that was all because my mother was a dictator when it came to recipes and the kitchen. It was always the best, or she wouldn't put up with it. She would destroy a cake in front of my eyes because the decorator didn't do the right job. So it was always perfection. And I think we had that drilled into us for like 25 years. So thank God, after all that, we were not that dumb. We got it.
The Porto children continued their mother's story, bringing people together one potato ball at a time.
I invite you to come here on any given day to the store, and you see we're the United Nations. The greatest thing about food is brings people together. It really doesn't create barriers. It opens people's eyes about other people, and so nobody's ever complained about Cuban food, and they come from all over the world. Nobody complains about potato balls.
Burbank isn't just a city of stories, it's a city of professional storytellers whose voices are heard and seen around the world. Cartoon Network Studios creates fresh, original animation for Cartoon Network and Adult Swim.
Our programs, our shows, our series are all creator-driven. And as a result of being creator-driven, nearly every program, I would say every production that we do, every series that we do, it comes from a very authentic place. And I think the fact that we're able to create programming that comes from an authentic place, that comes from a creator who brings forth kind of their own experiences in life and creates programming that everyone can relate to.
Cartoon Network Studios currently has 450 employees. By 2019, they expect to grow to over 600, and they're hoping Burbank grows with them.
But what I would say is going forward, it would be terrific to see more housing coming up in Burbank. We have many, many employees that I know would consider housing here if there were more options, but at the moment things seem to be a little bit limited, and I think it'd be terrific to have more options in the housing.
This city has always been a home to storytellers, but Burbank is more than that. It's a partner and a co-writer.
They absolutely help us tell our story by being who they are, by being a city that is sort of grounded and historically founded in entertainment, and not the least of which is animation when you think about the Disney studio and the Warner Brothers studio. And as being part of the city, you become part of that history and you become part of that story.
Everyone has a story to tell. but it's how we share our stories with one another and how we contribute to the stories of friends and neighbors and even strangers that help us grow the story of our community and our city. Burbank Story is an anthology of our lives and our dreams. We all have something wonderful to contribute, and collectively, we get to write Burbank's future. I hope you'll join us in writing a fabulous story together. Well, as you've seen, Burbank is immersed in stories that reflect the history of the city we are today. For example, aviation began here in 1928 with Lockheed, when it only had 50 employees and it moved out to Burbank from Hollywood. And the first talkie was released in 1927 by Burbank's own Warner Brothers studio. These two highly glamorized industries came together in a 1942 movie called Desperate Journey with Errol Flynn and Ronald Reagan. This motion picture was filmed at Warner Brothers and what is now known as the Hollywood Burbank Airport, along with using the planes that were built right around the corner at Lockheed. Additionally, various westerns were filmed at Warner Brothers lot during the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s. Some of these, like Carson City, starring Randolph Scott, and The Searchers, starring John Wayne, incorporated the Rancho neighborhood, using it as a passageway to the location shoots in Griffith Park and Bronson Caves. As time moves forward, our industries continue to change. Lockheed is gone, but media and entertainment continue to thrive. And we are seeing these intersect with other industries within our city. Media has grown to become more than just film. Many of these companies make their living using storytelling as their foundation. Burbank has attracted video gaming companies whose stories are weaved in with their settings. Companies like Blizzard and NGE. As you saw in the video, animation is strong in our city. Cartoon Network has brought to life We Bear Bears. Nickelodeon has made us laugh with SpongeBob. Warner Brothers is exciting our kids with their very next movie called Smallfoot. And this past year, Disney tantalized us with Incredibles 2. Our stories sing with companies like Hollywood Records, Rhino Entertainment, and Cowboy Records. Our city thrives on its stories, and our businesses provide their own tales. You've heard stories of immigration, small business success, personal journeys, and more. Our Burbank economy is strong, and our outlook is good. Over 3.5 annual tourists provide an economic infusion of more than $830 million. We have more than 150,000 jobs, and builders have proposals for our much-needed housing, along with hotels and additional retail and office. This is all good news. At the same time, there are many things we need to work on, and your city council is addressing those concerns. We as the council have set 5 goals. They include budget, housing, economic development, governance, along with traffic and parking. In the area of housing, Burbank, like many other California cities, has a jobs housing imbalance. People who work in Burbank can't live in Burbank. This past year, the council continues to make housing our highest priority. We simply must add more housing. Recently, we've approved 275 units at First Street Village. 14 of these will be affordable micro units. And Tularia, at 241 units, is almost complete. There's still a tremendous demand for additional housing for all kinds within the city. The City Council has also implemented the accessory dwelling unit guidelines, and to date, nearly 200 applications have been received. Our residential projects that will be coming to the council next year include the old IKEA redevelopment site, Premier on First, La Terra project on Front Street, and staff will continue to work to ensure that affordable units are incorporated into each of these projects so that we can continue to build housing for all. In our downtown, we will soon see a new AC hotel and the $50 million renovation of the Burbank Town Center and its new stores, such as Cost Plus World Market and H&M. Isn't that wonderful? Within the media district, Whole Foods is a major success. It is refreshing to see workers, tourists, and residents shopping and dining on those outdoor patios. Hey, and by the way, how many of you have already been there? I have. Next year, we're going to see both the Avion and the Burbank Common projects presented at the City Council. In May this year, the new Burbank Airport North Metrolink station opened. It connects commuters and airport passengers to northern LA County and downtown Burbank. And the development process of the new terminal at the Hollywood Burbank Airport is progressing as they go through environmental reviews and the design charrettes that will allow for more public involvement. As Burbank continues to evolve, we must advocate for additional transit, including metro connections, to provide our employees with additional options to travel to and from work. There is a lot going on. But wait, there's more. Our own departments continue working towards improvements. Our police department continues to strive to be one of the best. This year, the most violent crimes are down 11% due to their efforts. Our fire department is a nationally recognized leader and has been called upon to help set the standard for a new paramedic treatment protocol that will be followed countywide. The new protocols Those new protocols align more with standards, statewide standards, and empower the paramedics to have more discretion on scene. The result has been a more successful coordination between our paramedics, our nurse specialists, and St. Joseph's hospital staff. Burbank Water and Power is constantly increasing electrical reliability. Most recently, the Ontario Substation Modernization Project. The library has begun to implement their first strategic plan to serve more than 800,000 people who go to our libraries each year. Parks and Rec is using limited resources to update playgrounds, and with the help of private donations, has developed a new pickleball court at the Larry L. Maxim Memorial Park. Our clerk's office continues to help fill a community need by processing passports within City Hall. Economic development successfully facilitated the renewal of the Downtown Property Business Improvement District, which will continue to fund improvements, events, and marketing during the next 10 years. Parking is a large concern within our city, and we are addressing the friction that occurs when we have businesses, shoppers, students, and residents when they all compete for the same areas. It is a complex balancing act that will require a number of strategies to be implemented simultaneously. This past year, homelessness has come to the forefront. The city established a homelessness plan and is working to alleviate tensions that arise between our businesses and our residents. We are purchasing a triplex that will serve as transitional housing for homeless families, and we are looking for more opportunities to help house the low and very low income residents of our community. Thank you, Burbank Housing Corporation, for overseeing the purchase and rehabilitation of that triplex. And thank you to Family Promise, who will provide the services those families need. And the city pulled together to fight and clean up multiple fires while protecting our community. You know them, Latuna, Hamlin, Harvard, and Wildwood fires. It required the firefighters to work the lines, the police to close the city streets, Public Works to clean up the aftermath, public information to get the word out, and finance to address the requested reimbursements. These are only a few examples of some of the work required. There are many other city departments who assisted. This is truly a team effort. With budget deficits looming in mid-May, the council enacted a hiring freeze. Currently, we are almost down 209 positions, and 123 of these are frozen. And despite that challenge, the city staff is doing their best to continue to pave streets, pick up trash, fill potholes. Sure, all of this might take longer to accomplish, and it's not clearly a long-term solution. But the work is getting done through staff's perseverance. And I'd like to give a shout out. Thank you, staff. Finally, we must address our forecasted budget deficit. Because of deferred maintenance and pension costs, the city must increase our general revenue or suffer substantial cuts to services and continued deferral of much-needed infrastructure maintenance and repairs. You, our voters, stepped up and approved Measure T, reaffirming our charter and continuing the transfer of funds from the Water and Power Department to the General Fund. This was done with the overwhelming approval rate of 81%. This has helped keep the forecasted budget deficit from growing even larger. The council has worked diligently to create savings initiatives that are underway. These initiatives, when completed, save the city approximately $9 million. This will be annual savings without cutting services to our community, and will be accomplished in partnership with the city's labor groups. It's extraordinary. The City Council is continuing to look for more savings throughout this year and beyond. We are doing our part. While these efforts have begun to close the funding gap, there is still a shortfall of $27 million. Every year, including a $9.5 million long-term operating deficit and an $18 million ongoing need for infrastructure repairs and maintenance. The Burbank Infrastructure and Community Services Protection Measure, or Measure P, would allow the city to address the funding shortfall and continue to repair and maintain our infrastructure by providing $20 million annually to the general fund. The 3/4-cent sales tax would also protect future revenue sources from being raided by other government agencies who provide only a small portion back to the city. We get it all. Glendale and Pasadena have the same obstacles as Burbank and are following suit with their own sales tax measures. Without the passage of Measure P, the city will face substantial cuts, including reductions to police and fire protection, paramedics, street maintenance, pothole repair. After-school and senior programs will be affected, as well as the closure of several parks and libraries. Basically, it is a choice about the future of our city and what kind of a Burbank we would like to see. How do we want that future story told? How do we want our future story to be read years from now? Our voters want to ensure transparency and accountability if Measure P passes. Therefore, the Council is already discussing the implementation of a Burbank Resident Oversight Board on infrastructure spending. There would be an annual accounting of revenue and expenditures, including an annual independent audit. The new Infrastructure Oversight Board would ensure that the funds go towards improving Burbank's infrastructure. We will use our local dollars to build a better Burbank. At your table, you'll find some information regarding Measure P, and I encourage you to become educated on the facts and vote to make your voice heard. Additional information is available at a website, burbankelections.com. Burbank is a wonderful city that I truly love. We have stories of our past and our future. The story of our future is always at a crossroads, where we get to choose that direction. I, along with my fellow council members, are very excited about what is still to come. We know that with your help, input, and involvement, we can write a wonderful next chapter in the book of Burbank. Okay. Gee, I didn't even sing for this. I don't. This is pretty. Wow, this is a bit of a surprise. Along with my fellow members up here who are being so gracious, I'd like to ask you to just take a moment for reflection on the contributions that the late Mayor Will Rogers made to our city. His term was way too short as a council member and a mayor, but I can guarantee you that his contributions helped change the direction of our city, brought back a civil conversation. He was a brave and kind man. Let's take a moment to remember him. Thank you.
On behalf of myself, Vice Mayor Sharon Springer, I'd like to say that I'm very honored to serve on Burbank City Council and as Vice Mayor. And on behalf of my colleagues and me, I present this classic Burbank short stories to our mayor so that she can write her own story about Burbank.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Gabel-Luddy. It was very inspiring, and we have a lot to be thankful for here in Burbank. Excuse me. It's up to me to kind of close the meeting, and I'm going to start with an announcement I know you're all going to like. I'm going to get you out of here earlier than expected. And secondly, I hope you're inspired by the second announcement, which is regarding an important chamber initiative. Before I get into the specifics of it, I want to briefly provide some background to explain why we have decided to undertake it. Burbank has an absolutely incredible job base. I've worked in 3 states with a couple of hundred cities. I've never seen anything like it. And, I think back 30 years ago, Burbank had a total job base of 100,000. Today it has a job base exceeding 150,000. Some of us think there may be even more out there. Despite losing 13,000 total aerospace jobs with the departure of Lockheed and going through the Great Recession where almost every community in the U.S. was losing jobs. Despite all that, our job base has grown by over 60%. To me, that's pretty astounding. Since 2017, I have met with 65 Burbank companies at their places of business to find out what they do and how we might help them be more successful. I am amazed at what I've seen. Of course, we all know the gold standard employers like Providence St Josephs Medical Center, the Walt Disney Company, Warner Brothers Entertainment, and others, but I have met many smaller companies who are also very impressive. Others have taken note too. A March 2018 national study identified Burbank as a tech node of excellence for content creation in media and entertainment. And as we've heard today, Burbank has a real storyteller history, even from an economic standpoint, through animation, movies, music, and TV. But now what we're seeing are new technologies converging in this sector, offering new platforms for these companies. This is great news for Burbank, but there is another side of that coin in today's global economy. Everybody wants these high-paid jobs, high-wage jobs, because they drive the standard of living in every community. And Burbank has experience with that other side of the coin. In the 1990s, when Lockheed Corporation and some of its local vendors left for Georgia, thousands of people lost their job, and Burbank lost its biggest employer, property owner, and taxpayer all at once. Because Lockheed had been here for over 60 years, the community was shocked. But we were fortunate to have the media and entertainment companies here in a major growth mode and wanting to stay in Burbank. I know this situation well because I was mayor when Lockheed left and when the Media District Specific Plan was approved. So the result today is Burbank's Media District is the hub of this tech node of excellence for all of Southern California, offering great promise for our economic future. So Burbank's past, present, and future as a jobs-rich community is the main reason that the Chamber has formed the Better Burbank Corporation. Incidentally, this name comes from a 1948 Chamber slogan, to build a better Burbank. And I think it's really interesting to still hear it echoing today. Its objectives are retain and expand our job base by making Burbank the most employer job-friendly city in California. And 2, support quality private investment so that the community can grow its general fund tax base. Having learned our lesson from the loss of Lockheed and knowing how aggressively competitor states still target California jobs, the Chamber believes our employers need to be a high priority if we expect to keep them here. Second, you heard the mayor discuss the city's general fund deficit. The Chamber believes that the issue needs to be addressed short-term with the upcoming election, and long-term, we need to look at other options to bring to the table. And we suggest one. I looked at the property tax revenue projected in the fiscal year 18-19 budget, and it's nearly $55 million. Well, that's 1/3 of the total general fund revenue. So what quality private investment adds significantly to our property tax base, which is one reason the Chamber, through the Better Burbank Corporation, will be supporting quality development projects in Burbank. In the Chamber's view, achieving these two objectives is essential to Burbank's long-term economic sustainability and quality of life. There's also a third reason for this initiative. The legal structure of Chamber organizations does not allow them to access third-party funding, third-party economic development funding from banks, private foundations, public grant agencies, and others. The Better Burbank Corporation has the legal structure that will allow us to access these third-party funds. With the loss of redevelopment in 2012, the 400-plus California cities which used redevelopment for decades to build their economic future, today, these cities simply do not have the resources to invest the way they need to for future economic success. And this includes Burbank. I know because I've looked at the numbers. So the Better Burbank Corporation, it's not going to replace redevelopment, but it represents a new resource and a new tool for Burbank to help support our number one economic asset, employers and jobs, and to strengthen the general fund, the most important revenue source of the city. The Chamber believes the Better Burbank Corporation will play an important role in strengthening Burbank's long-term economic vitality. If you are interested in learning more about it, please contact the Chamber office. So with that, and still ahead of schedule, let me bring the 2018 State of the City to a close. First, courtesy of the Friends of the Library, please take the books at your table. You can also have the flowers. Thanks to the City Public Information Office for their partnership in putting together this event. It was very professional and very impressive. Thanks to the Marriott Hotel and our servers for the venue and the food. And a special thanks to the Chamber sponsors and volunteers, without whom none of this would be possible. And to all of you, thanks for coming and attending today, and good afternoon. Thank you.